Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Hakwadash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word and truth. This is the Brother I with another video, and as we'll see, Russia's getting back into that Soviet Union spirit, getting ready to go against America, Mystery Babylon in that final battle. And the article I'll be using is on rferl.org, which is on Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and the title reads, Russia test fires hypersonic missile, U.S. sees no change in capability. Russia says it has successfully test-fired a hypersonic missile, which President Vladimir Putin earlier this month claimed flies 10 times faster than the speed of sound, but U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis downplayed Putin's comments in his State of the Nation address, saying they were little more than election rhetoric, and nobody cares what you crusty Edomite Americans have to say, because the cat's out of the bag and the world knows you Americans lie on just about every front. The Kinzhal Dagger missile was launched from a MiG-31 aircraft that took off from an airfield in Russia's southern military district, the Defense Ministry said on March 11th. Video footage released by the ministry shows two pilots gearing up for a flight and then running toward a jet carrying a large missile under its fuselage. The video then shows a missile detaching from the airborne plane and gliding across the sky. The launch went according to plan. The hypersonic missile hit its target on a testing ground, the ministry said. The Kinzhal missile was one of an array of new weapons Putin unveiled in his State of the Nation address on March 1st, ahead of a presidential election on March 18th. And that's not going to be much of a presidential race because everybody knows Putin's going to win. His people love him because he enacts policies that help them out. And unlike these dildo-head Americans over here, the Russian people know that great civil unrest and war is about to start, and they believe that Putin's going to be able to protect them through these weapon systems he's unveiling, though they're about to find out otherwise through the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The missile can deliver nuclear and conventional warheads at a range of more than 2,000 kilometers, the Russian president said, contending that it can overcome air defense systems, which it will, because if you've been keeping up on America's testings of their anti-missile air defense systems, you'll know that they've failed completely unless the entire testing was under controlled circumstances. And if there's any variable to the testing, like I just said, they failed. So when Russia does shoot these missiles over on American Mystery Babylon, they're going to hit their targets without a hitch. And also those missiles are going to be controlled through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The missile has been deployed in the southern military district since December 1st, he added. Using colorful graphics and video, Putin said Russia had also tested a nuclear-powered cruise missile and a high-speed underwater drone capable of carrying a nuclear warhead that he claimed would be impossible to intercept. So these Russians are just going to be hitting American Mystery Babylon from the land, sea, and air. It's going to be a turkey shoot. Beautiful. Putin said that the country also tested a new heavy intercontinental ballistic missile called Sarmat with a range and number of warheads exceeding its predecessor. In comments made on March 10th, Mattis dismissed some of Putin's comments as election rhetoric. I would just tell you that I saw no change to the Russian military capability, the U.S. Defense Secretary said during a flight to Oman, adding that the systems Putin talked about in his speech were still years away. I do not see them changing the military balance, he insisted. Putin has rattled Russian sabers repeatedly in the past, and military analysts said a lack of detailed information made it difficult to assess his statements about weapons. And websites like Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and other Western-run media sites are all biased and propagandized because they don't want people to know just how strong America's adversaries are, and all this Russian tech is going to run without a hitch. And now I'm going to get into a few scriptures. First, I'm going to start off in Revelation chapter 9, verse 16. Slack it, brothers. All right. Revelations chapter 9, verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, or 200 million. And I heard the number of them. So that's going to be a lot of missiles hitting American Mystery Babylon. And then you also got to factor in the chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that are going to be shooting a lot of energy beams on this place as well. And also those 10 horns of the beast, the European Union, are going to turn against America and shoot their missiles over here too. So it's going to be a beautiful sight to see if you're on those chariots. But if you're not on those chariots, you won't have much to worry about because you're not going to last too long. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone. And these horses are those missiles, because that's the best way the prophets could describe these visions in the past, because they didn't know what a modern technology like missiles or guns or grenades or anything like that was. Imagine if they saw a tank in a vision, the best way they described it is probably as an elephant. And the breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, that's the steel plating that are on those missiles. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. And those nuclear warheads are fierce like a lion, and that fire and smoke and brimstone is that nuclear destruction. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths, that nuclear destruction. A lot of people are going to be killed. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And again, that mouth is that nuclear warhead, and the tails is that smoke trail that those missiles leave behind that looks like a serpent. And now I'm going to go to Joel chapter 2. I'll start at the top. Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there had not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And a great people and a strong is those nuclear missiles again, as we'll see. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. And nothing shall escape them. And as we can see, is that fire that devoureth before them, and that flame that burneth, and behind them a flame burneth. Before those missiles hit, these lands will be a relatively pristine, as it says, as like a Garden of Eden. But after they hit, and behind them that flame that burneth, it'll leave a desolate wilderness or a desolate wasteland like Mad Max. The lands that are hit will just be completely destroyed. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. And the best way he could describe all these missiles is as a column of chariots with their horsemen and horses, which, as you know, are very loud when you see them coming towards you, as those missiles are going to be very loud and ferocious when these people see them coming towards them. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. And these people will be much pained and in great terror as they see these missiles coming towards them. And as they gather blackness, that'll be their countenance. Before the missiles hit and after the missiles hit, their faces will be blackened from being turned into ash and charred to a crisp. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, because those missiles are going to have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in them, so they're going to go to their targets, and there won't be a single hitch. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And that sword is those anti-missile air defense systems, which won't work. And as it said, they shall not be wounded by them, so those defense systems won't work, and those missiles will hit their targets without being stopped. And I'm going to go to Ezekiel 38:4. And I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, Slakia, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And this is talking about Gog, or Russia, being turned back into that Soviet Union spirit, because as we read in that first article, they're showing off all their new weapons systems, which they did in the past when they were at the height of their Soviet power, which I'll show in a video real quick. Let me get to the good stuff. So you see, brothers, we're at the end, so we just got to keep strong and keep pushing on in this truth. So with that, I hope you were edified by this video. Until next time, Shalom.